Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. This meeting is of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in agenda items remarks of the public. Do we have a roll call?
Mrs. Torrey?
Here.
Mr. Kowski?
Here.
Dr. Wells?
Here.
Mr. Thorson?
Here.
Before we go into executive session, we just wanted to let you know that we will be going into executive session twice with just the Pledge of Allegiance in between. We do not anticipate being out of executive session anytime before 7:30. So if any of you would like to go over to the college fair, please feel free. Executive session, item number 2, employment and compensation of a public official, ORC code 121.22G1, discussion of the treasurer search. Do I have a motion?
So Second.
Discussion.
Because we don't have a procedure, we have to set a procedure. We don't have a procedure for the second executive session, the appointment of a public official. And because of that, we have to set one. And that takes a vote from the board, not just an executive session. And I propose that we do the interviews and the statements in public so that the public can hear the various candidates. Because as board members, we have to go before the public. We have to go before the public and tell them what we stand for, and I think the public should know who and we are appointing and why we're appointing them, and what it is that the board finds about them that will serve the public interest. Thanks.
At this time, we have a motion and a second.
Mr. Kowski?
I'm contending that we can't go into an executive session until we have a procedure. For treasurer search?
We're on treasurer search right now. We're not on that yet.
I thought you were announcing both at the same time.
No, we have to come back out and do Pledge of Allegiance and then discuss the next thing.
Okay. I'm all for it. Go ahead. You got my vote.
Dr. Phelps?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mrs. Torrey?
Yes.
Good evening. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now at item 4, executive session. Appointment of a public official, ORC code 121.22G1. Interviews of candidates for board vacancy. A motion. Second.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mrs. Torrey?
Yes. You would like discussion?
Oh, okay.
We need to actually set a procedure for this. Okay, we need to set a procedure because going into executive session is not a procedure, it's an action. And the way that we conduct this is something that the board bylaws do not provide for. And so, in addition to going into executive session, which would remove us from the public realm, we also should have a motion on the procedure after the executive session vote, on the procedure by which we conduct these interviews. So that is the part of the discussion that has to follow this vote.
Okay, well, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Kotowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Satori?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yes. Okay, I move that we conduct the interviews themselves in public, giving each applicant 5 minutes to state their case, and each board member a single question to each applicant.
Is there a second? Okay, at this time, we would like to invite all 5 candidates, including our legal counsel, for interviews in the board office. Thank you, everybody, for being so patient. Item number 5, board member appointment. Appointment of an individual to serve the remainder of an unexpired term expiring December 31st, 2015.
Motion to accept Michael Douglas.
Second? Discussion?
I just want to say thank you for the 5 people that stepped up, that offered to take this seat. It took a lot to do that, and I think the community appreciates them taking that stance, and we thank them for their time.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mrs. Satori?
Yes.
Mr. Kotowski?
Yes.
Item B, election of a president. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to invite Mr. Douglas up here so that he can be sworn in.
I just need you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
perform my duties as a member of the Board of Education
perform my duties of the Board of Education
of the West Geauga Local School District in Geauga County, Ohio. The West Geauga Local School District in Geauga County, Ohio.
the West Geauga Local School District in Geauga County
To the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and in accordance with the laws
and in accordance with the laws
now in effect
now in effect
and hereafter to be enacted
and hereafter to be enacted
during my continuance in said office,
in my continuance during said office
and until my successor is elected and qualified.
and until my successor is elected and then qualified.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda, item B, election of a president. And we will accept nominations, no second needed, and we will ballot, and upon election, the president will lead the remainder of the meeting. And I would like to nominate Dan Thorson.
I'll second that.
No second is needed. We don't need a second. Are there any other nominations? Then would you want to vote, please?
Mrs. Dottori?
Yes.
Mr. Katowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Item 5, to approve agenda or addendum items. We have a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with some alterations. It has come to our attention as late as it is this evening that we are going to fulfill some of these items on the agenda this evening, and then we will convene and meet at a later date that is decided before we leave this evening. Those items for consideration for the agenda this evening would be item number 8, number 6, number 7, number 8B, number 9A and B, number 12, number 13A and C, number 14, and number 16.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Mrs. Dottori?
Yes.
Mr. Katowski?
Yes.
Dr. Phelps?
Yeah.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Abstain.
Okay, we're on to item number 7, remarks of the public. Please note all persons wishing to address the board have a 5-minute limitation. Please state your name, address, and topic. I try to get everybody in as best as possible. So do I have any who would like to volunteer? It's at the base of the microphone.
My name is Jennifer Spire. My address is 13929 West Willard Drive in Russell, and my topic is the West Java Local Schools District. Good evening. My children have been educated by the talented teachers of the West Java School District for the past 9 years. Currently, 4 of my children attend school full-time. My 5th child will enter kindergarten at Westwood in August. As a parent, I would like to commend the teachers and staff of Westwood and West G Middle School for nurturing my children in the classroom, meeting their academic needs, and encouraging wonderful growth. Because of their dedication, professionalism, and genuine caring of all students in the classroom, my children have thrived academically and socially. I'm truly thankful to be part of the West Java School District. And I mean what I say. I truly feel that as a parent, I'm a welcome partner in the education process. I'm encouraged by the teachers to volunteer in the classroom. PTO has provided multiple invitations, as well as opportunities to volunteer at extracurricular events. My fellow parents have always made me feel welcome and encouraged me to donate any part of my time or talent that I can give. I'm especially thankful for the opportunities I've been given with the drama program at Westwood. I love that I can experiment with my creativity in making costumes with a team of parents who so generously give of their time, talents, and enthusiasm. It doesn't matter if we're making 140 Jungle Book costumes in 4 weeks or 68 bug costumes in 3 days. They keep saying yes. They say yes to the fact that their kids are important. Yes to continuing to work long hours until the job is done. Yes to showing our kids what an amazing feat can be accomplished when parents come together with positive attitudes, a willingness to work hard, and their kids' well-being as their primary focus. Over the years, I've had the privilege of working with many of the parents here tonight, and I'm so thankful for the friendships and camaraderie that's resulted from our working together. We've given our kids an amazing example of what can be accomplished when people truly work together. This doesn't happen in many school districts. It does happen in the WestGBrd School District, and I feel blessed because of it. Over the years, my volunteering has caused me to cross paths many times with Jackie Vittori. We've worked together at Westwood on PTO functions, Girl Scouts, and the drama program. Now that our kids are getting older, we find ourselves volunteering at the middle school. Most recently, she enlisted my help baking cupcakes for the 8th grade farewell dance. As a mother of an 8th grader, I was happy to have the opportunity. My daughter's not on the dance committee, and I really didn't know too many of the plans. I was happy to hear that Jackie encouraged the committee to be autonomous. These 8th graders chose the theme, the decorations, the menu, the music, and the entertainment. They networked among their friends and family for the needed services and donated prizes. Jackie followed their lead. She supported their decisions and did the running around so the kids could have the supplies they wanted to put their stamp on their dance. I've always enjoyed working with Jackie because at her core, she puts the students of WestG first. They are the priority. She works consistently and willingly, organizing and motivating the completion of a multitude of tasks. She's been a positive force in WestG, as well as an example of the caliber of parent present in our district. Our parents working with our kids and the staff is what makes WestG spectacular. Thank you.
Someone else like to step up?
Thank you. My name is Doug Fletcher. My wife Barbara and I live at 13916 Fox Hollow Drive in Russell. And I'd like to make a comment on the vetting process for the new superintendent. First, I'd like to thank Dr. Phillips for his service to our community. I'd also like to say that I employ a number of graduates of the WestGBrd system, and I've always been pleased with their academic ability to perform a whole wide variety of roles in a small to medium-sized business. With all of the sudden changes that have taken place recently with regards to the position of the superintendent, I think it's very important, and I hope that we have a good process, and I hope we implement a good process to adequately vet our next superintendent. For example, we have someone who's acting in that position. Have we done an adequate quality background check, reference check? He left a previous system saying that he wanted to devote more attention to his personal consulting business. Do we know anything about that consulting business? Does it have potential to interfere with any duties that we might assign him? If we have a process for doing background checks and reference checks, who does it? Is it a member of our board? Is it multiple members of our board? Or do we hire an outside professional? I think in times of turmoil, it's easy to forget some of these basics, which I think are very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Phyllis Fuchsman, live at 9841 Fairmount Road. That's in Newberry. My girls Sonia and Martha are students at Westwood Elementary School. Fortunately, they've been accepted back to return to Westwood next year. They love school, they love their teachers, and they're doing beautifully. In fact, they're outstanding students of the sort that any school would like to have. And as I understand it, that's typical of open enrollment students, because they come from families that really care about education. I appreciate that our family is a guest of the West Geauga School District. Our children do not have an inherent right to attend this district or to remain there, and we have no vote in how the district is run. We do have the right to apply for enrollment and to be treated fairly when we do so, and we have the right to leave if we're not satisfied. We chose West Geauga schools because we perceived that the West G community had more willingness to support their school system than our home district, and because West G provides a broad curriculum and high quality with support for the arts. I've since learned that this high quality is partly funded by open enrollment. Our open enrollment students bring the district nearly 3 times as much tax revenue, or at least double, compared to the local tax revenue of resident students. If you cut open enrollment, you're endangering the financial stability that supports the current high quality that attracts families like us. On the other hand, the biggest disadvantage of the West Geauga schools, in my opinion, is the lack of diversity in the student body. I went to an integrated school as a kid, and I wish that my children could have that positive experience as well. Cutting open enrollment would only make the problem of low diversity more acute. So cutting open enrollment will make school quality go down and local taxes go up, and there's no way that protects property values. I don't know why the school board set the open enrollment quotas that you did. In fact, nobody else knows either, because, as I understand from the news coverage, the issue was not publicly debated. However, the appearance is that the school board is pandering to a vocal minority, and that that minority is motivated by some combination of misinformation and bigotry. That's what it looks like, and that's very distressing. Above all, for the school board to set a quota so low that students who have already been attending West Geauga schools, students who have built friendships and relationships with teachers and staff, those students should be kicked out for no compelling reason is a disgrace, and it is a disgrace that should be fixed. Thank you.
I don't come to these things. I'm not actively involved in, the political part. What gets me upset now is kicking out the kids. My son came home. He said his locker neighbor got kicked out, and he was all upset. And then he told me somebody else got out. Somebody else got out. Let's look at it as we had a party. We had a party at my house or a party at his house, and it got overcrowded. I'm not going to go to somebody and say, hey, you got to go. You're not as good of friends with me. You got to leave. I'm going to let everybody come to the party. I'm going to stay, and it's going to filter itself out. So if you guys want to get rid of open enrollment, you let who is in there stay. Now you're throwing out $250,000 from these people that come to the school. $250,000. And I've also heard you're closing, not having to pay for all-day daycare. Okay? If that's true, I don't know. Full-day kindergarten. $2,800 a kid. My kids paid for it, everybody else's kids paid for it. Also, now it's going to be gone. Well, that's going to be, what, another 150,000 that we're just going to throw out. Okay, so now you're at, I don't know, 300-some thousand. I don't know, is this Dr. Phelps? I think he's gone now too, 170,000 or something like that. All I know is my son loved it. He said, you come down, eat with them, have a good time with them at the lunchroom. Nice guy, 150,000 gone. We can't get any money for a football field. I don't understand that. We've got all these teachers here without a freaking, without a contract. But you're willing to flush $600,000 out the drain. And I just think it's terrible to invite people into our community and then say 47 kids have to go. And if you're per grade. That's all you're talking, 4 kids. Go back there, have another half an hour meeting, come back out. And then let's start working on these teachers, kick $100,000 in the football field, and everybody's happy.
offers to our children. It's appreciated. So I want to say thank you for that. It came upon us very suddenly that so many of the open enrollment children wouldn't be able to come back. It didn't allow parents time to prepare. And so now we have, I believe, well, he said it was about 50 kids, and that was 37, who now really have nowhere to go. The education that was provided here is superb. Finding a school, we're here because a lot of our school districts don't meet that same quality. And finding somewhere to put, particularly our 9th graders who took the biggest hit, is going to be difficult at best. Other open enrollment programs have closed now. Scholarships at private schools have been taken. And so our kids only have the opportunity to go back to the point where we tried to give them something better, which means that especially our 9th graders are going to lose probably a good year of their education. And if parents do find another school for them the following year, then that means that they've transferred 3 times. Probably not the way you want any of your children to start their high school experience. A lot of our children coming from the 8th grade to the 9th grade who haven't been accepted back were accepted into the band, and they purchased their uniforms and paid their fees. We've got into high school who are ready to go and support the WestG community, and they love it. And I hate for you guys to lose the enthusiasm that these kids bring to WestG. I could also go into the fact that the curriculum that you have moving forward, they won't be able to fulfill in another school district. So I'm asking you if we could please take one step back, give an opportunity to discuss maybe some of the levels that were cut, particularly that 9th grade, and then slowly maybe start to incorporate. Ideally, what we'd like to see is a grandfather clause put in place. it in a way that won't hurt the children who live here.
My name is Blake Andres, 7611 Oak Hill Drive here in Chesterland, and my topic is growing and supporting leaderships. You know, I think we're at a really critical juncture in our district right now. Our high performance is driven and has been driven for a good number of years, largely because of parent involvement. Those who were born here and stayed here to raise their children, those like myself who moved here 5, 10, 15 years ago, as you heard from those in front of me, those who make the commitment to drive here every day from out of the district have the same expectations for their children. And kids prove to us over and over and over again they will live up or down to our expectations every time. We are at a really critical juncture. We are at a really critical juncture, all of us, school board, parents, administrators, because we've adopted a vernacular in our backyards, editorial page, and quite frankly in these meetings, that is us versus them. Administration versus school board. In district versus out of district. These are not boundaries that we are training our kids to grow up with today. Our kids are on Twitter. Folks personally, socially, academically, and quite frankly for the many employers in this room, they want 21st century citizens. We elected school board members who in turn hire administration and staff. They all uphold these expectations and have 21st century learners. Or quite frankly, we would not have the continued success, at least on some of the measures, that we've had consistently over the years. I think most of us in this room agree that we, by and large, work together to have these expectations. The leadership, you know, it's grown in our future leaders. It's all about continuity of vision and mission. So moving forward, let's be solutions focused. Let's hire administrators, keep administrators to do their job. There may be differences of opinion on certain elements of the job, but as a school board, as a leadership of any group, our job is to support the leadership to do their job. How much opportunity cost is there of 6 months or 2 6-month periods of 2 new superintendents versus what might have been gained if we've supported a superintendent to do the job we hired him to do? That not every decision in education can be put up to a popularity vote. Certainly we want our administration, certainly we want our school board to have a pulse of the community. That we hire professionals to make complicated, tough, and sometimes unpopular decisions. So I'm sure there are some valued things in this report. And I was pleased, quite frankly, to see the amount of support for out-of-district transfers. But is there a school district in the state that we could do a survey and expect anything but a split vote? These are not decisions. The amount of time and energy it went to chase this down versus the opportunity cost, the educational leadership costs were lost. So as we move ahead, look around the other districts around us. Look at those that are at a point where the economics, the population is decreased to a point where they have no other decisions, and perhaps you look at another district for consolidation in the very near term. I think we still have a window in the district if our energies as a community and amongst leadership is not on us versus them, not about sending lessons of division to our kids, but what are the other quality of life in addition to our schools that will attract new people to live in this community. If we want to support all the students who come from in and out of the districts, if we want the long-term viability of the positive thing WestG School is, let's find a way to work together so that we can build on some of the other elements of the community that will encourage other families, like those that were born here, like those that came here 7 years ago, like myself, like those that are driving in here every morning to give their kids a quality education. Thank you.
to give some opportunities for folks that would like to talk about, and again, we'll definitely hear from you. But I also want to give an opportunity for people who have other issues that they would like to talk about other than open enrollment, and if that's not the case, that's okay. That's fine. I just want to give an opportunity because we're running out of time. If that's what we have, then absolutely, I expect you'll hear from her. I just want to make sure that we're also giving equal time to other issues. Go ahead, Emily.
I have a question. Does the changing of the subject have to do with the fact that I'm only 14 years old?
I'm sorry, can we have your name?
I'm Sarah Burger, and I live in Sagamore Hills on Eaton Drive. I'm an open enrollment student here at WestGBrd, and I have been since 7th grade. But back to my question, was why you were changing the subject because I'm only 14 years old?
No, I just want to make sure that we give everybody a chance to talk. Not at all, please. I'm sorry. Please, explain your.
So I've been attending WestG for 2 years now, and this school has impacted my life in many ways. But I am one of those students who got denied. I am not welcome back in the WestGBrd school system for the following 2014-15 year, and I'm going to be a 9th grader next year. And when I got my letter of denial, I don't really have enough time to go to a new school. I mean, there's chances for it, but getting into schools at this time of year is very difficult because I can't go to a private school and take the exam and get in. In my district, I can't do any of the sports I wanted to do because of how late it is. And I tried out for cheerleading this year for the freshman year. I made both basketball and football cheerleading for freshman year. And I thought that I was welcomed into the district, and I'm very disappointed that I was given the opportunity to make a team, and then a few weeks later I find out that I'm not allowed to be. Like our freshman football cheer team, we're down to 3 girls now, almost 2, because of an alternate that is not open enrollment. So it's very hard on me to know that you gave me the opportunity to be part of this district and make me feel like I was welcomed. And I already planned my high school classes too. So it's very rough knowing that I'm going to have to start all over and make new friends. And I don't want to seem like a little girl to you guys at all. This isn't me trying to complain and whine. I just want to let you know that you really are changing little kids' lives. I'm not a little kid, but young adults. There's seniors who haven't gotten in. And they don't get the chance to finish their year with their best friends. Some of the people in this room and who were here earlier have been friends. I've been friends with them forever. And now I don't get to finish my school with them. So that's what I'd like to say to you guys.
Sarah, I'm sorry. Sarah, thank you for taking the time to do that. I'm sorry, please.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Jackson, and I live at 459 Pearson Drive, Richmond Heights, Ohio. And I would like to talk about open enrollment. We're very happy to be here, but our children are talking about whether they can stay or will have to leave WestGBrd. They are concerned. I have 2 boys that are here. They love it here. This is their first year, and thank God they were welcomed back. But my concern is, will they be denied next year or the next year? Every year will we have to worry about where our children will go to school. And they're saying, they're talking about it. They like the friends that they have made. The diversity that open enrollment brings is good preparation for everyone's future. Their world is already diverse with social media. They have access with youth from far more cultures than we've ever had. The very fact that the youth here get along well, they're understanding of each other, tolerant of each other, but mostly they welcome the diversity, speaks volumes to how open-minded they are. Their future will be multicultural, and the diversity that open enrollment brings will prepare them far better than isolating them. Secondly, we who are part of open enrollment do not have a negative also sacrifice a lot. We get up very early to be here before it's time for school to open. We carpool, and some of us, including myself, pay over $400 a month for our children to be transported back home one way. We don't complain. We do it because we love our children. We do it because we, like every single person in this room, want the very best education we can give them. We are vested in our children's education, and we value the educational opportunity afforded by open enrollment. And we do not take this opportunity lightly. We are not freeloaders. We are not drug dealers or drug users. We are not rule breakers. We are hardworking, educated citizens who care about our children's future, and our youth love and respect West Geauga School. We love it here. Thank you.
I'd just like to say the gentleman that's standing there, that's the last person that we'll take. We'll take the next three. Thank you very much, Tom.
Good evening. My name is Janine Smith. I just want to introduce my daughter would like to address you. Her name is Destiny Smith. We live at 25243 Chardon Road in Richmond Heights.
I am an open enrollment student at West Geauga Middle School. It's sad that when I came back from a trip with West Geauga Middle School, that I come home to a letter about my denial. You guys, you didn't take into consideration of our feelings, our friends' feelings. I've only been here for a year, but you can grow here, okay? I've made friends, I've connected with my teachers, I've learned here. This is a warm, loving place, and everyone is accepted here. And for you to put that in my head, for me to be accepted and to take it away from me with one letter that I can't come back, it's hurting. Really, really hurting. You guys should have took in consideration of our feelings and what we would have felt. It's a domino effect. It's not just us it's not just the kids that are being denied that are affected. It's our friendships. Our friendships can be broken. Our teachers. It's a domino effect. I have cried with my friends for the past week about this. It's not just me. It's everyone. And then there's the carpool situation. If one open enrollment student gets in and then the other doesn't, that breaks the whole carpool. So how is the other one supposed to get to West Geauga? This is supposed to be an accepting school. But why do I not feel accepted?
West Geauga schools are supported by a proud, hardworking, generous community. We support our business, neighbors, schools, and our teachers. The fact is, a prior board expanded what was a limited open enrollment policy, a policy that was growing out of control. The current board was elected by the community, and we need to give the board the opportunity to do their job. The disunity present with the board and the past superintendent is good for no one. The work dog group further adds to this, or the watchdog group, further adds to this disunity. division that statewide open enrollment has caused is not what Chesterland's about. We pride ourselves with excellence in our schools. I do not think that expanding classroom numbers is part of that equation. Statewide open enrollment is only contributing to a bigger problem with reducing the number of families moving to our community. The open enrollment students, to the open enrollment students and families, I would like you to know that we know you're good parents and that you want what's better for your children. And to the kids, you're great kids. We like having you here, but we would like you to move to the community and be part of the entire community. No one wants to choose sides. This madness has to stop. I have friends that live in neighboring communities. I mean, we grew up together. It's awful because it seems like I'm against them. I'm not against them. I'm not against the teachers. The kids are put in a horrible situation, and it's got to end. I feel that you're doing your part in getting a rein on this, but it's terrible. I mean, you hear these kids and they're crying and they're in a real predicament. But I do believe we're starting to get this going. Houses sell in this district because of the schools. If no one has to live here to go to school, the results will be disastrous. No levies will pass because the people that vote for the levies are the people that live here. Property values will drop. We will not have the money to continue educating the students at the current level we do. Look at the home districts where these children are coming from. The families are abandoning those schools for ours, but it creates a much bigger problem, and eventually the same thing will happen here if we continue. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephen Gutierrez. I live on 147 Brush Road, Richmond, Pennsylvania. I'd like to start off with, I'm currently in 7th grade at WestGBrdMtg140528A. I'd like to start off with my 6th grade year before I came here. On the first day of school, I felt I've been shoved down the seat. At my past school, I've been shoved downstairs. I've had dirty hands wiped on my shirt when I'm cleaning. I've been treated like I am nothing. But I have come here to a school full of accepting people. I have forged friendships with not only teachers, but students. They have accepted me. It has been life-changing. I have felt happy. For some of the first times in my life, I've been happy going to school. I wake up every morning feeling like this day is good. Not that I'm going to be rejected, pushed away, chased out of the school. I feel that I will be accepted. The friendships I've forged have been strong. If I stayed here, I could keep them for my entire life. But I got a letter 2 weeks ago saying that I would no longer be accepted at the school. I would be forced out. But I think that if I am forced out, going back to that school that I came from before is not an option. But there are not many options. So, this life-changing experience may have to come to an end. But I hope the board makes the decision tonight that will change that. And I will be able to stay. Thank you.
You are making cupcakes, and these children are going through that. I don't appreciate your smugness. I don't appreciate you doing what you've been doing for the longest time, especially for that pastoral work. You are so
not wanted here. Could you please step down and let us have our school back? Because enrollment is not never broken. It didn't need changing, and your arrogance changed it, didn't it? Your days are numbered. If you don't step down, you'll be out.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all the people that stepped up and expressed their views in a respectful manner. I truly appreciate that. We're moving on from our public remarks into the next item of our meeting, which is new business, item number 8. This would be the Turf Community Report, item B. Again, if we could have the presentation from the Turf Committee, I appreciate your patience. I know it's been a long meeting. And that's a little short for you, isn't it? That'd be perfect, thank you.
Well, thanks for having us. You keep throwing us curveballs here, but we'll persevere. I want to welcome Mr. Douglas. Mr. Douglas, did you receive a copy of what we sent out to the board? I'm assuming you probably have.
No, unfortunately, he would not have been.
Okay, again, we thank you. What I would like to do, if it's okay, we want to be respectful of everyone's time. What we're going to do is, and I just want to make some points. We have a gentleman here. There's a couple gentlemen that are going to speak on the progress. I'll introduce them, not on the progress, but on some points about the board, about the field project, and then I'll just recap and then hopefully be able to answer some questions. The 5 points that I'd like to make. Number 1 is that you guys received this information, so I'm going to be repeating a little bit of this information for everybody. The cost of the project, $674,869. $675,000 is the cost of the project. We committed last August that this group would raise all the dollars and that there would be no burden on the taxpayers for installing this field. That was our goal. We have been very fortunate. The community has been very accepting, very supportive. We have not heard one negative word within the community. In fact, the word is that this is needed. This is definitely needed. This is an improvement that's needed for many reasons that I'll go to in for a minute. We have gathered, as of yesterday afternoon, we've gathered $415,000. As of this afternoon, we have gathered $430,000. And as of this evening, we believe that we have gathered $510,000. Again, that puts us approximately $160,000 short of our goal. So, that's the first point, just to lay out where we're at. Second point, you guys all received a graph. Our goal is, and with the graph, for the audience's understanding, utilizing the graph, a $260,000 investment by the board. And as we talk about 5 items, we talk about marketing opportunities that we've all learned about. We talk about sponsorship opportunities, maintenance, savings, rental income, Four items that make up money that's generated on an annual basis from this project. Again, a gentleman that's part of the project from Kenston is going to speak a little bit on how their school has been successful in generating these dollars. Within a 20-year period of time, and I apologize for using a 20-year period of time, but we did not think anything could show the numbers because that includes 2 field replacements because there's an ongoing cost. We have determined that by using conservative numbers at basically up to half of what we truly believe could be there, that that this project can generate $650,000 in excess to what the costs are. Those are dollars that we would like to see then reinvested. We'd like to take an initial investment and then reinvest those dollars in upgrading the rest of the facilities for this project. The third point, and I'm not going to stress this like I thought this would, that I would, but I'm going to stress this will save our children injuries. There will be less concussions, there will be less blown out knees, less turned ankles as a result of this field. The gentleman from Field Turf will talk about the study briefly, talking about how this will result in fewer injuries. I'm not sure what the cost of a blown out knee for an aspiring athlete is, but it's pretty high. The fourth thing, and I'm also not going to touch on this as far, there's a perception of West Geauga schools not being willing to invest in some of the things. As you look at probably the two schools that we probably most tied to, Kenston and Chagrin Falls, we're not keeping pace. I don't think there's a lot of argument on this, seeing the investment that they are. The trouble is that from an academic standpoint, and from the fact that we are a supportive school system, this is more perception. This is one of the jobs, this is one of the improvements that we can do to start turning around this perception and start putting an outward presence that we are investing in our schools and we are investing in our kids. The last thing is, and I'm stepping way out of my bounds of expertise, we do believe that there are dollars today to commit to this project that can make this project a reality for this fall. We do know that there's some figuring out how to do, but we do believe that there's some PI dollars. And I do want to stress, this will not be a long-term burden on the taxpayers. This will be an investment for the taxpayers to improve the facilities at no cost over the long term. And so whereas we will be looking to utilize dollars for a short period of time, there will be a payback. At this time, I would like to introduce Scott Schell. He's the person who ran, Dr. Scott Schell from Kenston School District. He ran the Kenston program where they put a new field in, and he's going to talk about some of the opportunities that they've been able to present as a result of this.
Thank you. I know it's late and I won't take much time. I stood before the Kenston School Board about 5 years ago, $250,000 short of our goal for putting in a turf field. And we worked out a deal with them where they supported the money and we were to make a 10-year payment in return so that we could get the turf field in immediately. I can tell you today, 5 years later, the turf by dedicated people like you have here, we have now paid off on our turf. So the $250,000 that we borrowed and was to be a 10-year payment. And one of the things was as soon as the community heard that the turf was going in, we probably got an additional $50,000 over the next month from businesses, from supporters, long-term supporters of Kenston, that jumped on board when they heard that, yeah, the field's coming in and we're going to be part of it. The second thing, and I'm sure he's going to talk about it from the turf expert, but the injury is way, way down. The reason I started the whole project was I sat on a mud-drenched night looking over a Kenston field and going, this is an embarrassment to me, it should be an embarrassment to our community. At the time, we felt there were two fields that were the worst in the CVC. One of them was Kenston, and I'll let you guys decide what the other one was. Secondly, from a community standpoint, there were less than 50 events on our high school football field for the season. This year, and I just checked today, for a one-year term, we had 1,173 events on our turf field in a one-year period last year in Kenston. And that's from the little second, third grade soccer players all the way up to the senior citizens, 60 and over soccer league and whatnot. So it's been a community pride. We call it the jewel of the school because it's the one thing that brings everybody to the schools is the field, the atmosphere, the Friday nights, the being very proud of what you as a community produce. And then I guess the last thing is, and he's already mentioned about the financing, it sounds like they're only asking you for approximately $160,000. And I can tell you that Dr. Lee, the best decision he told me that he ever made was to go ahead and get the project started, because everyone in the community is extremely proud of it. It's all about passion. It's all about community. I believe my sons, 3 sons, have played WestG over the years. You guys are a passionate group, and I wish you the best in the decision.
Thank you, Scott. Now, if I could introduce Bob McKeever, who's just going to talk real quickly about what it is the field turf offers, and from a safety standpoint, they're the only company that has actually done a safety study by Penn State University, talking about the safety of a turf field versus a grass field.
Thanks for inviting me into your board meeting tonight. Field Turf is the only company in the industry that has invested our research into having actual test data done on safety of synthetic turf. That's always been an issue from way back in the actual turf days. We now have over 10 years of safety data that's been peer-reviewed and published in major periodicals such as the American Journal of Sports Medicine and the New England Journal of Medicine, which is basically every athletic trainer's Bible. In every anatomical area of the body, we have tested out safer than grass. And the best study we have, and I can share the video with you, but the one that we really like to look at is the D1 school video, where they monitored over 450 games, half on field turf and half on grass. Now these are well-maintained, engineered grass fields with a very high payroll of people that take care of them. And again, it came back identical, even from what the high school was with their terrible fields up to the D1 level. And I'll be happy to share that all with you. And if there's ever any questions, ask Bill and I'll answer them for you. Thank you.
So, we appreciate the time that Scott and Bob spent coming out here tonight. I guess in summary, we're asking the board to consider supporting this project for installing the field this summer. We're here to answer questions. If you wonder, if you question the numbers, the income that can repay and invest into the school, we can talk about it. If you question whether the field is a danger to our kids, we can go take a look at it. And if you believe that, I'm not even going to bring that up. I'm going to stand back. So what we're asking for you to do is to consider funding the remainder of this project however we see fit in a way that we can pay back and begin to invest in the school.
I have a few questions, if I may.
Please.
Just to
we're here all day.
Thank you. First of all, I want to offer an apology because every time you guys have to take an opportunity to present this, it seems like you're the last on the dance card.
Right.
I appreciate your patience because I really appreciate what you guys have done going out in the community and getting the donations that you have. But I need, from a board standpoint, sort of be brought along a learning curve if I can. And perhaps maybe this will also help Michael, who's kind of new to this process, in hearing about the turf. You guys have started this about a year ago. You have been champions to every group in this community talking about this and what it has to bring. Initially, when you, I think, presented it, I was at Kiwanis, and I believe it was at the board meeting when you presented that. You felt that you were probably going to make the cut. You were going to get all the money. So basically, what you're presenting to the board is we want to move forward in this now, so that in the fall we have turf, but we're short, and we're short $160,000. Now, I'm not telling you, a member of the community, what this board faces as far as spending money and how we've been perceived by our community is just writing blank checks. It's a difficult decision from that standpoint. I don't think, I'll speak for myself, I think it's an excellent cause. I don't have any children that will probably use that field, but I think it's great for our kids. I think it's going to be great to prevent injuries. I think it's a worthwhile thing, and I think it'll be a jewel for the school to have. But that said, we have to have a vehicle to be able to give you $160,000 to complete this project, and it has to be done now. you're going to enter into a contract with, what's it, is it turf?
Field turf.
Field turf. And we have to make a decision within X amount of time to be able to do that. Now, my question might be more directed to Mr. Palmer. Can we do that? Can we do that as a district? Does this have to be a competitive bid? Is there limitations to what we can do? If we were to decide, you know what, Bill, we're all for you, we want to spend $160,000, could we do that?
I think one of the big questions we're going to have to face is, as a district, if we start committing district funds rather than taking a donation. I guess one clarification, I think, the intention was not for the group to enter into a contract with the church, rather make the donation to the school and the school contract for the company to do that. But, there's some information that we had as far as the group raising all the money and the fact that we could operate within, off of the state term bidding or state term pricing that would eliminate the competitive bidding. If district funds are being targeted for that, we're going to need at least some time until when we convene this meeting to research that properly and have a definite answer.
We have field turf come up because
sure.
They're the only company that will allow us to go around.
As you know, that these meetings are for the board to gain information so that we can make informed decisions. Absolutely. If you have something to add to that helps us understand this.
Approximately 30% of our contracts in Ohio are all procured through cooperative purchasing, which is similar to state term. It's been bid at a national level, so it already has been competitively bid. We've done approximately 15 projects in the state of Ohio this way, mainly at the high school level, all the way from full field replacement, our brand new field, from taking it to grass to turf, as well as synthetic turf replacement fields too. But it does meet all the legal bidding requirements, and we've got a full management staff. That's all they do is manage, because we do probably $30 million a year off of cooperative purchasing nationally. So we can fortify you guys with all the information you need on it. And that's actually how the proposal's laid out for this project.
Mr. Russo, would you be able to give us your point of view on this as well?
As far as bidding this project is concerned, Mr. Palmer is correct. If the board is going to do this, if this is going to be our project, then yes, and we can use either state contract, and there are competitive bidding guidelines that we can follow to have Field Turf do this project. That is absolutely the case. If it's done by us, if that's the case, then we still have to settle this issue of the shortfall. If the committee is going to give the board $510,000, can we come up with the additional $165,000? What the difference would be?
Hire the superintendent back.
Yesterday. I mean, you're looking at doing this project. And again, I'm only speaking for myself. The whole board would have to make a determination if they were in fact in favor or not in favor. But you need a commitment yesterday, not...
Yeah, basically, time's running out next week at this point.
Time's running out.
Yeah, but yet you're telling us there's not enough time for us to make that decision within the constraints of what we have to do. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
No, what I'm saying is the decision that has to be made is how are you going to come up with that shortfall? Because the monies that this group has raised, and if Bill's saying $510,000, those monies would have to be donated to the Board of Education, to the school district. The board would then have to come up with that shortfall, $165,000, to make this a reality.
And those funds, Jim, don't currently exist in your unallocated in your permanent improvements, is that correct?
Well, they do not exist in the allocated permanent improvement, the $1 million, but where they could exist would be in the 5-year PI levy.
The one we just did for roofs and for...
The ones we just did for roofs, because on the back end of that, there are some dollars that we're expecting to spend. That's
you know, the difficulty is that as a community voted for us to use that for roofs, not necessarily for a field. So then,
well, that's correct. However, what we've done thus far as the roofing is concerned, we've been able to come up with significant savings on these roofing projects thus far through the competitive bidding, through some wise decisions that we've made to do that. So there is really the real possibility that those dollars would be available in that 5-year PI if the board wants to commit those dollars to them. That's possible.
Hey, Bill, I have a question now.
Thanks.
I think. Okay. I think there are real good reasons for everybody to support the project because, you know, obviously it gets use across the community. It's part of the whole cohesiveness that holds the community together. You know, band uses it. It could cut down on injuries, and also life cycle costs are lower, aren't they? Than what I've read is that a well-maintained field, so not necessarily our field, but a field that's properly maintained, its grass is more expensive to maintain than a turfed field. Is that right? Okay. So we probably, though, aren't up at that level because we're not really maintaining our field the way it should be, but if we were to, it would be cheaper to have a turf field than to have the grass. Well, so there are a lot of good reasons, and I think everybody's for it. So what I'm wondering is, why do we have to do it this year as opposed to like waiting a year? And one of the reasons is we recently hired an alumni person to help us with development. And the thing I'm running by you now is what happens if we wait a year and one of the charges of our alumni person is to help you raise that last bit of funds that you need, and then if we can or can't, we revisit it in the spring so that we can get it ready for the year after this one.
So we don't have the exact number, but we think that the cost to maintain a grass field is in somewhat decent condition is about $25,000 a year. We've put zero. There's no money has gone in for the last 5 or 10 years. Our field has been, our field, I don't want to say this right, I hate to tear things down. Our field is unplayable. I mean, it's terrible. The band wasn't allowed to perform a couple of years ago. The kids aren't allowed to practice. The baseball teams are practicing on the tennis courts. The lacrosse team is practicing on the gravel field. This, in my opinion, as you think about what Scott Shell said, that the dollars we're looking at and the ability to start generating new dollars by moving forward with this project, if we delay, we're going to continue the same situation that we're in practice fields. There'll probably be a concussion. There'll probably be a torn knee that could have been prevented. And we'll continue the same perception that we've been going down. We have the opportunity to have a real positive press for a very small amount of money. Again, let me clarify, not your burden. Our committee brought this to you, and we're putting you in an uncomfortable position at this point. We apologize for that. But we do see this as a very small investment for a huge return, and every year we wait, we have cause to wait.
If I might, one point I guess I would throw out is, you know, another factor in the postponing of the project that has to be factored in is we were planning to do, Mr. Russo had planned in his budget a resurfacing of the track for last summer that was put off to this summer to coincide with this project. So that's something to keep in mind. But what I might suggest is, you know, a few weeks ago to a month ago, we tried to get a joint committee of finance and operations together. Given the timeline that they're talking something by middle of next week, maybe we could try to reconvene some committee of the board to hear that and get some clarification on the ramifications of investing district dollars into this process, and if that changes anything. reason I bring that up again is prior to, I think maybe a departure, I don't see him here right now, Mr. Burges said there may be some concerns if there's a district investment as well. So we can, give our due diligence to the change parameters, but still work into that timeline, knowing that we're looking at reconvening sometime very soon to address that.
Yeah. Well, he just answered what I was going to ask you, because you and I had conversations about the track. But could you both clarify? You told me that the track needed work done, and you postponed it till next year. But then on here, on their proposal, it says track area asphalt. What?
No, that's a very minor project that they're talking about. They're not talking about, what?
Minor to some extent, that it's not the track, but major in the fact that it's a $60,000 investment in asphalting and rubberizing all the track events, putting in new track events. We were up there today. I don't know if you've seen it. It's awful. And we'd be putting in brand new asphalt on both sides, which has been, the track coaches think that would be an incredible improvement, and redoing the track events. So we think that there is some potential combined savings that might be part of both items that's in part of there as well. So there are some additional dollars. $60,000 is built into that cost to take care of those items. Resurface, doing the Ds, asphalting the Ds, and doing the vents, not the track.
Right. That's why I was confused.
In all honesty, as we're all talking about this, there's still some things we don't really know, and yet I kind of think we'd be remiss to work so hard not to try to at least hear what we can do. And yet you understand that our back is sort of up against the wall in both the time and the perception that we write blank checks. I would be in agreement, Jeff, if we could find a way that we could sort of expedite getting this information and seeing if there's a way that we can help. And then being able to bring it to the board for a vote to see if that's something that we can do. So I'm not sure, Bill, how we can get to that next step, but I would be willing to do that. And then see, again, that would be an emergency meeting, I would guess, Jeff, and the board to be able to hear.
Well, yeah, if we do a committee meeting with just operations and finance, that would be 2 board members to hear it and work through it, and then have the recommendation come to the full board as we reconvene for the rest of the agenda items on this that we're not addressing tonight.
Right.
So, I was assuming we would be targeting that sometime early next week anyway, knowing that graduation is on Wednesday. That's probably not a good night.
Now, from that standpoint, Bill, I guess hang in there. I mean, I know you don't have the time, but we don't have all the information to make an informed decision. So if we can expedite these meetings and be able to, I don't know that we could vote and do anything for you tonight anyway, if we're all in agreement.
If we have a 1 week time frame.
Sure. I mean, it all comes down to what field turf can do, and he's saying that.
We have 1 week to make a decision.
Yeah.
We have 1 week to make a decision.
Why do we have 1 week?
Just because of getting it scheduled in order to have the field put in installed before the football season, so we don't have to delay a game. In other words, there's more time. There's less time as anybody wants to have. The timeline that we're working up against now puts it into that thing. So whatever we can offer you, whatever information we can offer you, whatever time we have, we will give everything we have to get that information.
I mean, with all due cynicism, I mean, one of the favorite techniques of people selling you something is to tell you you've got a timeline. And how strict is this? I mean, what happens if, like, 2 weeks we offered these guys this business? I would think they would find a way to make it happen, because there's a lot of money at stake here.
There's a couple things I think we should bring up. One of them is we're talking about a 3 to 4 week construction period, just doing the things, along with another 3 to 4 week construction, putting it in. It's not something that we can just say, okay, we can do this, and they're going to start the following week. We've been in contact with them and have it, and we've laid that out. The other piece I think you guys are understanding is that if we don't do it this year, we actually will lose. We already know we will lose funding dollars for next year from people that we raised. Okay, that will be it. The other piece is we have gotten a deal on this particular term this year
product at a price that is below the reasonable market. It also verifies the timeline, and we'd be at risk of losing, we're at risk of losing the first week starting when we start.
So he has the background to know what a good price is then.
Yeah. We can have him at those meetings.
Yeah. He's an expert witness on a failed turf in Texas right now. He's being brought in. So he knows.
Well, he'd be a great expert witness here. That'd be great.
From my standpoint, let's work hard on this. I couldn't say today, yeah, let's do it, because I don't know how we would fund it if we wanted to. We'll meet as quickly as we can, gentlemen. I mean, we have part of the finance committee and part of operations, correct? Which we're going to have to assign something for operations. Because I think that's yeah, which we didn't do tonight. But we're going to add a couple items to the president. Yeah.
Certainly with the audience around, and also about appropriate for Burges to give their report tonight. So,
right. Let's have some discussion on that, especially here. So, listen, let's meet as quickly as we can. Again, I appreciate all the work that you've done. I hope you understand my position. There's no way that I can say you can do it or you can't do it.
If I could just.
I know I'm just. Can I say something about the first?
I'm sorry.
Just real quick. Well, everybody else gets to talk all these hours. Tony, I want to say something. Just real quick.
We had a public session.
I know.
They did a presentation.
I just want to say about the lady here. My son blew his knee out 2 years ago, and he was north of $100,000 and 12 years old. I seen this book he's on the turf. So I don't think you should wait on if you're going to do it. Anyway, I hope you had insurance. If someone would have had insurance, it wasn't their son, that their daughter.
I appreciate that, sir.
He wants to delay the year, but sure someone else can get ready, it's not worth it.
Thank you.
Jeff, you had a comment.
I was just going to say, Bill, if you could email me even tonight with some dates and times, either, even tomorrow, Friday, today's Wednesday, right? Still. Attempted a joke, sorry. And with some days, times over the next couple of days, possibly even into the weekend, and we can try to get the group together as quickly as we can, and then I'll forward it to board members and get at least 2 people there so that we can do
make myself completely available to any time we can meet, okay?
I appreciate that, Dan. And Jeff, I have nothing that is not movable.
And again, I hate to give you yet another delay, but I hate to give you guys another delay. I think you've been great, you've worked hard, you've been very patient. Just, I'm not quite sure how to get from point A to point B.
I understand we did that like we can't just sit there and say so. And we want to make sure Mr. Douglas is front of the speed. If you would like to talk to me directly about some of the stuff I've talked about the school board in the past, this might not be legal, but if you're allowed to, you want to, I'd be happy to do it.
We should have a round of applause for this guy.